Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing Peter Pan and Wendy, now streaming on Disney+. So this film is the newest adaptation of the Peter Pan story. I feel like every couple years we get a different iteration of the story, whether it be live action, a play, another cartoon. And I was actually pretty disappointed when I watched this one because it was directed by David Lowery, who's done some of my favorite movies of all time, A Ghost Story, The Green Knight, even Pete's Dragon I really enjoyed, so I loved him getting another chance at a Disney classic, putting his own spin on it. But at the end of the day, the movie felt rather uninspired. While the themes of Peter Pan still work, and they always will work, that's why it's always being remade, that's why it's such a classic and beloved tale, it doesn't feel like the movie really elevates the source material at all. And I think a lot of the filming nature of it, a lot of the cinematography of the movie could have been so much better. I've seen other films by this director, by these people involved, that have been so much more interesting to watch. It felt like this movie takes place almost entirely on just kind of like a big green screen ocean with some fields. Not a lot going on. When I think of Neverland, I think of the fantasy and the whimsy of Peter Pan. I just don't feel like it was captured in this one. I feel like that's something, while Hook is kind of maybe a controversial film and people don't absolutely love it, it has a special place for me. And I feel like that movie really captured the heart of Neverland and the heart of the Lost Boys and all the things that go along with that. And this movie just never really got there for me. It felt like there were some flashes, there were some moments, particularly with Captain Hook, that I enjoyed, but I just feel like there was so much more that was left on the table. As far as the acting goes, I think it was all pretty solid. Nothing to really write home about, nothing really incredible, but all pretty serviceable from all these newer actors and actresses. I do think that Jude Law gave an interesting take on Captain Hook. I liked his performance. I kind of liked the depth to the character and focusing on that a little bit more, even if it was just a little too much. We didn't get as much Peter Pan as maybe I think a lot of people would have liked. And while I didn't necessarily love kind of the drab color palette of this movie, I did like that there were some chances taken with some of the camera work, particularly in the beginning of the film when they're first leaving London to go to Neverland. I liked some of that interesting take on that kind of transportation and kind of that flying mechanic and everything going on there. But I felt like there were so many opportunities to really make a fun, exciting, heartfelt, thrilling movie with Peter Pan, and it just feels like at every turn they decide to take kind of the slower route. I think it's not going to be super enjoyable for children. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not the target audience, but for me, it just never felt like it really got there. It never really got going. It feels like it falls in the category of a lot of these live action remakes that have come out, with the exception of a few that are really incredible, that it just feels like something that necessarily didn't need to be made. And I know that's a common criticism, and it's kind of a lazy criticism, but when you're watching it, it feels like you're taking the source material, you're putting a little coat of paint on and not really spinning it in any way, and just kind of putting it out there as something that's really consumable. If you take something like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, it's fully changing the story, it's changing the style, it's changing everything about it to make it more interesting. But a film like this feels very cut and paste, and I didn't expect it from such a creative and really beloved director of mine. So if I were to rate Peter Pan and Wendy, I would give it a 5 out of 10. It's right down the middle. It's not aggressively bad. It's not really that great. It's just a consumable, another iteration of this story that we've gotten a million times before. Maybe I had higher hopes. Maybe my hopes were a little too high, coming from how much I love, the director and kind of everything that goes along with that. So if you check it out, let me know what you thought about it. Maybe you liked it more than me. I would love to hear people's opinions of people that enjoyed this movie or really got something out of it. Or if you have kids and they watched it, did they enjoy it? Leave those comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe. See you guys next time.